Welcome to the LaSTEM Collective Podcast, a monthly partnership of the SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center and Louisiana Delta Community College, bringing you conversations and accomplishments, opportunities and experiences in the Louisiana Region 8 STEM ecosystem and beyond. And now, here are your hosts, Ryan Pierce and Kathy Cox-Boynule.
Morning, morning.
Say it again.
Morning, morning.
Say it one more time.
Morning, morning.
All right. I think we got you. You know, there's a problem when you take an extended vacation from the show, because all of a sudden you come back and you think, wait, do I even know what I'm supposed to be doing here? Do you feel like that too?
Well, I know you looked at me strangely when I walked in, and I'm like, he doesn't recognize me.
I mean, terrible. It's only been a month and a couple of weeks instead of just the usual month. But that couple of weeks, I think that's thrown me off a little bit.
Well, let's just give it what it is. I mean, the temperatures are soaring. Everyone's a little on edge because it's so hot. And so it's just, we kind of get out of our wheelhouse, if you will, out of our rhythm.
I agree. I think I've been a little off ever since summertime came. But like you said, with the heat comes a feeling of maybe I need to just relax and take a rest. I think our bodies do some things that just kind of cue those items whenever the temperature changes.
Well, and I think it in turn affects behavior. My husband and I were driving through town yesterday, and he kept commenting on all the erratic drivers. And I said, well, there is research that supports the fact that when the heat comes and when the weather gets really hot, people kind of lose their mind when they're driving. And so, you have to be aware of that. And so, people are a little on edge. They're testy. No, I'm not testy, and I'm not saying you are, but we may be a little on edge is all I'm saying. It has to do with sweating and stuff like that.
I'm telling you, here we go, STEM Collective Podcast. We're talking science here. We probably could stand to have someone in here who's an expert at these kind of things, but we're close enough, at least for right now. For today, we're close enough.
Hey, I've got news for you. I am an expert at sweating, so I can talk about this all day long. Let me tell you, when we were at the Peach Festival, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but people were always just like, Kathy, you're hot. Your face is red. And I'm like, I live in Louisiana, and we're outside. Yeah, I'm hot, and my face is red, and I'm very good at sweating. It's keeping me cool. I'm fine. And I wanted to say, have you looked at yourself? Right. We're all in the same boat.
We're all drenched.
That's
it's amazing that the humidity is what it is. I woke up 2 days ago, walked outside, and it felt like 95, even though I'm sure it wasn't. It felt like 95 getting out. You can literally, in Louisiana, everybody knows this, walk outside, 3 minutes later, you're drenched in sweat, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do much.
No.
It's unbelievable. And my son, he's been doing going to track practice in the mornings, and I'm thinking, thank
Very
goodness.
Very early, I
hope. 8 a.m. in the morning,
That's it.
7:30 a.m., and I'm thinking, thank goodness, because if it was 12 or 1, there's no way they would even
Well,
survive.
and you hear every year about people who have exercised poor judgment, and they've gotten out there and they've, overheated, or they have a heat stroke, or, there have been some serious stories that have come out of athletes and maybe some irresponsible leaders that have had them out there in the day. And so everybody just needs to exercise caution. We've got a heat advisory on all week. This is a good time to just take it easy.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's talk about some things that maybe occur inside. I would like to say that I recently got a haircut.
I noticed that.
Did you see? I mean,
I was going to ask you if you'd gotten your ears lowered.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Most definitely. My summertime cut usually looks like this, basically bald, or close enough to it. It's a very close shave. And I'm feeling that was my way of combating the heat. And so I'm feeling a little bit more aerodynamic now. That's not saying that I'm running any faster, but I feel better.
Just be careful not to get a sunburn on the top of your head. Do you put a hat on?
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, I live with a bald man, so I know. And he keeps his head, cut really short. And so if he goes out in the sun, he makes sure that he's going to have a hat on, because your head will burn, especially if it's not accustomed to being out there. So, buddy, cover it up.
Thank you so much. I never thought I'd put suntan lotion on the top.
You better put some sunscreen.
Oh gosh. All right, and talking about barbering again, I was asking you right before we started the show, can we consider barbering a STEM field? Because we're starting to feel like everything's STEM. What are your thoughts on barbering and STEM?
So it's interesting that you brought that up. Last year, we were having this conversation among the LaSTEM Center directors, and they were leveraging partnerships with cosmetologists and beauticians, because that is very much STEM. There is so much chemistry involved in what goes on. And you asked about barbering, and I said, well, they better understand something about measurement.
That's
and
true.
Angles, and if they're treating male pattern baldness. And, women are not the only ones that like a little color on their hair. You know, guys, you know, they tend to want to be looking fresh all the time. And so there are elements of STEM that go into that. But here's the deal. STEM is about a mindset and mindset around problem solving. And have you ever seen some of the heads that sit in the chairs in these places? You got to problem solve your way into making them look acceptable when they leave. And so,
Yeah, especially me.
yeah, no. You and my husband have very similar hairstyles. And so, but here's the deal. You can even mess that up if you're not able to, you know, look at things symmetrically. And then there is this whole, you know, process, and it's almost like a design process. And so there are elements of that. Look, I was telling you today is National Insurance Day or something. They now qualify insurance as STEM.
Wait.
Yeah. And so
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Is that because there's math involved?
Well,
where you have to add and subtract
I think
for your
people
claims?
say that, but you know, since we have machines that do that for us, but again, that they're talking about having robust STEM fueled businesses involved in insurance. I am not an insurance person. I pay someone good money to take care of that for me. But again, that problem solving mindset, you know, how do you make things work? How do you engineer your way around certain issues? And so, you know, everybody's kind of looking at it as, hey, we're a part of this too.
Gosh. Okay. So insurance. I mean, what's next? We'll find out next episode, right? Which, by the way, I want to make sure everybody knows this is the 9th episode of season 1. Now, we don't necessarily go around touting, you know, seasons 1, 2, and 3, but we're gonna take another break, a real break, from after this episode's done, and then come back in probably late August or maybe early September and start it all over again. And we're gonna do season 2. So we want you to tell us what you want to see on the podcast, right? We've been doing this kind of in isolation almost, you know, just showing what's going on in the STEM ecosystem in Region 8 and beyond. But we would like to hear from you. So remember, there is a Facebook page out there, and I want to make sure you know that. Oh, look at that. Let me transition over to, there is Miss Kathy Cox-Boyne.
Oh, boy, there she
wonderful
is.
Smile. SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center. If you look it up on Facebook, there's plenty of articles that come out. I feel like at least once a week, if not twice a week, there's something special that comes up. Lots of great pictures, lots of good coverage of what the SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center is doing all over the place. But you can put your thoughts on what you want to see happen. What we'll do is we'll post this latest episode on the Facebook page, and then you can comment. And say, what would you like to see change, different? You know, do we need a change in the graphics and the scenery? Do we need to put some special sound effects in here? Do we need to have more special guests? You let us know, and then we'll respond accordingly.
But I'm going to say they can't say new host because I refuse to go away.
That's right. You can't get rid of us. Other than that, that's it. Now, of course, you know, speaking of that, in STEM, artificial intelligence.
Oh, Shazam.
Have you come across articles, I think, and I forgive me for not remembering all the details, but there is an experiment going on, I think, in the sports world and as well with some small or localized television station. And they're trying to bring about artificial intelligence hosts to host broadcasts, whether it be sports or news or things like that. Oh, I think it was radio. That's what it was. There was an artificial intelligence disc jockey that is being implemented at a radio station. And, you know, of course, if I'm a disc jockey, a human disc jockey, I'm up in arms because I'm thinking, man, you know, that's a cheaper salary, way cheaper salary.
Oh, yeah. But
what's
Ryan,
going to happen?
That's everything. You know, automation is taking the place of humans in all kind of sectors. And so the fact that it was going to this, but I laughed, though, when you said that, because as a former DJ myself, plenty of us were accused of having artificial intelligence at that time anyway, you know, because they said we didn't have any sense as it was. But, you know, I've got to do more studying on this. I will say that I didn't pay any attention to the thing else, but when Paul McCartney announced that the Beatles were fixing to release a new song thanks to AI, I'm like, wait a minute.
How's that possible?
But no, why should we be doing that? You know, artificially generating John Lennon's voice, artificially generating George Harrison. I mean, come on. We're talking the Beatles. What's next? Elvis? You know, and so
certain things should not be tampered with.
Well, yeah, and I think this is something we need to be very careful about. You hear reports now of people whose voice has been lifted, their image or whatever, and they're seen in videos saying things that they had no connection to. That's
right.
a little scary to me.
Yeah.
And we need to proceed cautiously with this, and not that I think we will, but
Right, why would we? Right?
yeah, I mean for real. I think we need to be very careful about this.
Let's just take a second to think. When machines came to be, it was the Industrial Revolution, then we had machines that were doing some things for us, and there was some fear there that, humans were getting replaced because some of the menial tasks were done cheaper, faster, more efficiently by machines, but we still tended to stay employed. We just had to switch gears a bit.
Yep.
And so it's interesting when you have artificial intelligence, something that's kind of thinking on its own, thinking for itself, maybe even learning on its own, where that puts us. It is scary, but then again, so far, with various changes in the workforce, human beings have tended to still remain valuable.
Find their way.
So my hope is that with AI, we can still manage to carve out our own niche even with that and continue to prosper.
And I would add this too, and we have to, it doesn't matter what it is. There are unscrupulous people everywhere that are going to do wicked things with stuff. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. And so I think just right now, the fear of, oh my gosh, somebody may lift my voice and I may, be the one out there saying something that I did not say, has everybody on pause. And so we have to kind of look at it for what is the value? How is it going to enhance and enrich our existence? Is it going to bring something to the table rather than tear something down? And we're just so new in this thing now. So there's study to be done there. I mean, the next podcast could actually be AI, and we may not even be here, right?
Something tells me that if that happens, then yeah, we've gone way too fast, way too soon. Oh my gosh, yeah, I would hope not.
And it can't be that sophisticated if you and I picked it up in 6 weeks' time. So,
oh goodness. Well, what do we have? What do we have to look at, and what has happened in the region since the last time we've met?
So I'm going to tell you, let's start with, now that we're sitting here, we're talking about AI and this, that, and the other. What you're looking at on the screen is the STEM caucus within the Louisiana legislature, and you've got a group of the LaSTEM directors and such. They had STEM Day at the Capitol. And I threw this up first because here we are having a conversation about AI. Most of us really are not too sure what's going on with this. But the point is there needs to be constant education, and education about what STEM is. You and I were debating is, barbering STEM, is insurance STEM. We did agree that Paul Bunyan probably was STEM because, what goes on there. But we went down and spent a day at the Capitol talking with legislators and with other stakeholders. There I am with our representative, Chris Turner, one of our big buddies. We just don't have a better advocate for our region, and having conversations about STEM. And these are people. This is one of our colleagues at Louisiana Tech. Yeah. And so he was right across the way from me, and I ran across and said hey, and we had a little picture made there. And anyway, having conversations about STEM, because we used to actually lifeguard at the YMCA when we were both very young, and now he's important in Baton Rouge, and there you go, Ty Bromell.
It's like, remember the little people.
Yeah, and he did. He took this picture and then posted it immediately. He said, former lifeguards at the YMCA. And his mother is actually my insurance agent, speaking of insurance and STEM.
Gosh.
So
the
anyway,
continues.
Yeah, it is. But just having these conversations about STEM, there we are. And these are, you notice these LaSTEM directors, all females. I mean, just really making a stand for women in STEM.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, really we were excited to be down there and have these conversations and keep our region in front of people, in the forefront. So the others represented there, Wendy is in Hammond with Southeastern, right. Angie's down in Lafayette with ULL, Summer's down in Baton Rouge with LSU, and then in the front, your two rural babies. Jennifer's down in Alexandria, and then here I am up here at Tech. And so it's all about partnerships, but it's all about continuing the conversation.
So the question then becomes, with so much ado about STEM, when the conversations were had out there in Baton Rouge, was there any big aha moment, or, did you change the minds of anybody necessarily, or that was in the room, or who passed through the room? I mean, what came of it? Was there some goal that was
So the
had?
biggest surprise to me is the number of people that still have no idea that the LaSTEM network is out there.
Okay.
And so that makes why we're here today all the more important. The fact that we stood and talked to these young people that were in here and said, hey, y'all are a part of a LaSTEM ecosystem that you didn't even know about. There was a group from Richland Parish that came through. And so that's important for them to know this framework is out there. It's been here for 3 years. We're starting our second cycle.
That's right.
And we need you to be a part of it. We need you to engage. We need you to advocate, and we need for you to participate. And so, to me, that was the biggest takeaway. People still don't know.
That's right. And I'm hopeful that you said something about the podcast. And if you didn't, next time I'm going to arm you with a QR code and a web link so that people can go see it.
That's a great idea because we learned, this was our first time to do this. We learned some lessons about, I don't think that the legislative STEM caucus was really prepared for that we were going to come with our power.
That's right.
And so we need a little more space and an ability to showcase what we've got going on.
So basically, you needed 3 or 4 tables.
We need to be,
what
yes, it needs to be a little more strategic. And so we learned that, and but also having those conversations with other people say, like just Shree, talking to him, we're on the same campus, we never see one another. How can we partner?
It's a big campus.
It is. Well, yeah. But, just things like that. So this was a good first step, but it was only a first step. There needs to be a second, third, and on up until, we kind of hit a jog with this thing.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, certainly purpose, and we got to start small sometimes. And then eventually, the word spreads and the momentum continues to build. And I thank you for going down there. I'll say that, because any publicity is needed. And like you said, the legislators, as well as, just up and coming kids in elementary school and high school and so on, they need to know about this kind of work. And so it's great that you were down there.
Well, I'm going to say this too. They had us go into chamber and while the legislature was in session, and I dare say that there were numerous people in that room that aren't even aware. And so, just every opportunity that we have, we need to do that. And I was glad to be there.
Yeah. What do we have on the screen now?
Speaking of my red-faced, sweaty self during the Peach Festival, so here, this kind of shows the scope of what we do, Ryan. So we're at the Capitol with legislative representatives in one moment, and the next we're in the middle of Kids Alley at the Peach Festival and handing out STEM kits. Now, if you look down here, you'll see that we made STEM kits to go with James and the Giant Peach again, because after all, it was the Peach Festival.
Got to stay on theme.
That's right. Put a copy of the book in there, and we gave them a little challenge to make a catapult that would allow the cloud people to chunk ice balls at the Peach when it goes by. We connect it to the story.
I love it.
I know. So there it is. And inside the bag, we include information about our Region 8 LaSTEM Center. We talk to parents, and we encourage them to go home and do this with their kids. And so here you see their little Kids Alley, and they're doing their thing, and we're handing out these. And so, I mean, in one moment, we're talking with people that hold the purse strings, and in another moment, we're on the streets saying, hey, you can take a piece of the LaSTEM Center home with you, and we will be at your school, or we'll be, whatever. And the kids were so excited. I mean, it's free. We don't charge anybody. We're just handing them out and saying, hey, we want you to go home and do some thinking. Parents were excited, that grandparents, they said, this is something we can do. I said, yeah, because the ice balls are cotton balls, and you're not going to tear up a lamp or something doing it. But I think for adults, it says to them that this is important to us. These kids are important to us because, yes, we're out there in the middle of the heat, but we find value in this. And also letting all kids know that they are welcome at the STEM table. It doesn't matter where they come from. They can have a kit and go home and read the book and do the activity. And it's just another way for us to showcase our LaSTEM Center, have conversations, and educate more folks.
I bet that they walked away feeling like, wow, this is something educational. I mean, the parents, I'm sure, were happy about that. But it was free.
It was.
there's a lot of things that cost these days, food and
Most
drink.
things do. I cried going out the grocery store the other day.
Right. But here you are, you're getting something of extreme value from the Peach Fest at no cost.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it's fantastic.
And I love to see the adults' face. The kids, they don't understand money anyway, except that they know, we spend it. But for parents, there's no charge for this.
Yes,
I mean, they're like, because they know they're going to be spending some money on funnel cakes and corn dogs before the day's up. Yeah.
That's right.
And so free, and it was just fun. And of course, we'll do it again. In fact, we are submitting a proposal to be part of the STEM showcase for a conference that's going to be in Memphis. And we're going to highlight how you can send STEM home with kids in kits that don't cost a lot of money, and then it's something that you can give. It's an investment in it. So we're proposing to showcase that. I think we'll be able to do it, and so it'll be fun.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, because again, that's one of the themes. Is you've been to many different, not just festivals, activities, just gatherings, and there's usually a tent. And there's usually something that you're giving away. So that's incredible. And you have the pictures to showcase as well as the kits that you can give out at that thing in Memphis. That's great.
Yeah, we'll do it.
That's great.
So shifting gears again, and when I talked to the young people this morning, we talked about partnerships. And, our LaSTEM Center prides itself on partnerships. I mean, we've got lots of partnerships. So what you're seeing here is our second Engineer the World Girls Design for Good Day at the Lincoln Parish Library. And we partnered with Lincoln Rotary and the library to present an opportunity for girls from all through the area to come together and to rally around one of the grand challenges. Water conservation was our topic this year. And they worked together on activities throughout the day. They just had a blast. It was just fun to watch them, dig deep, to think about these problems, to do these activities that allow them to explore these different topics and to come. And the young lady on the left there, I mean, she was thinking so deeply about this. And so we're talking about water conservation and the importance of it. I mean, then by this point, they had some real aha moments. And so they're using this little pump dispenser of water. She looks up to at me and she says, are we being wasteful doing this? Can you believe that?
Oh, my gosh.
And so we had to have a conversation about when we use water for a specific purpose, it becomes, okay. But we would not want to just randomly say, use all the water you want to, and we'll just keep filling it up. I mean, but for her to have that question in the middle of us doing organized activities was just like, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
That's high level thinking right there.
And so we also gave them an opportunity for an engineering design challenge. Let's see, that'll come around in just a second. This little girl was so funny. She said, I feel like I'm in school, but I'm having fun. Because they were learning so much, and doing all these things, but yet it didn't feel like school because they were just having a great time. Now, here they are starting on their engineering design challenge, and their challenge was to create a mechanism that would allow them to dispense water for 3 days. It was like for a pet feeder. And without spilling water, without wasting water. And so they had to come up with a design, and they had to test it. And this is kind of a precursor into a national competition that they can enter if they want to. And so anyway, there was one, and I'll get to her picture in a second. And I don't know, my moments of just absolute joy coming seeing these youngsters who don't know one another, collaborating. And that's what we talk about with STEM, collaborating, coming up with ideas, coming around a consensus, trying something, then thinking, oh, that doesn't work. Now look at this. See this little apparatus? So anyway, it worked. And so the one on the left, that young lady on the left, I remember when she jumped up, she said, I cannot believe this. This works. I can't believe it works. And for them to have that aha moment that, look, we are capable of doing something that seemed impossible. Wow. Impossible. Look at those faces.
Right. And I'm looking at the pictures just thinking, man, what are they I'm trying to wrap my head around what they're doing. You're explaining it, but to actually engineer it.
That's it.
That's, again, high-level thinking.
It is high-level thinking, and they have a limited number of materials, and then, they know they don't get any more. Now, if you look carefully at this, you can see they have another something that they started. but and they had to.
So they had extra time and extra resources. Like, let's do something different.
Well, they found that didn't do what they wanted it to do.
Okay.
But anyway, we just were very proud of them. They did a great job with this, and they here you have kids from 3 different groups that are over there encouraging these young ladies that are working on theirs. When I see that type of activity, and we're talking about young ladies in 4th through 6th grade, these are young ladies, and their level of maturity in doing this. This is a Saturday afternoon in the summer. I can't speak enough about it. So there it is. Yeah, that's what we did, and we were grateful to Lincoln Rotary for calling us and saying, can you think we can do this? And actually, I kind of went into this because at the end, they got to take a STEM kit home. And in it, there was a book that was written by the VISTA program at Louisiana Tech, and it was called Fearsome Floods. And so they had materials in it to engineer a platform that would hold a water container that would withstand the floods. And so the community could keep their water supply safe without wasting the water. And so it was just another opportunity for them to go home and do some engineering design and everything. And so it worked out really, really well.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. And as I was looking at the pictures, I had to look over at the Facebook page because I'm plugging Facebook today.
There we go.
And sure enough, what we're talking about here, just in case you couldn't join us for the podcast or you wanted the news earlier in the month than what we recorded, it's out there. When did this event actually happen?
This happened on Saturday, 13, 12, 10th, something like that, maybe. Is that about right?
So just a few days after the event happens, and it's up for everybody to see, documented, explained. This is it right here on the Facebook page. Definitely your way to stay up to date with up-to-the-minute activities and articles and pictures right here on the Region 8 LaSTEM Center Facebook page. Just wanted to make sure y'all knew that. It's all right there. Okay. You go.
Thanks for that plug. Thanks for that plug. That's good. And we have kind of tripled the people following us since we started plugging. So yeah, thank you, Ryan, for doing that and helping us with that. This is kind of one of those things. I know that there's of course, we know I don't do social media, but we use my face to do this. But that may not be me on there, as a matter of fact.
No, don't tell
But
me
anyway, we know that people have lots of different things that they can go out there and look at. And so we're slowly but surely gaining some traction, and we know that you have a lot to do with that. So thanks a bunch. We appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Gosh, I mean, now if I'm a betting man, I don't know, though. No, I'm not going to say anything. Tell us what's next, because I thought maybe this one didn't make Facebook. I don't know. What you're about to show us next?
I don't know, because I send the stuff to Missy, and then it gets up there. But anyway, and let's just say that she's on vacation, and so if it hadn't made it up yet, we're not fussing, because she has not had a vacation, and I don't know when.
Yeah,
all right.
It will be eventually.
It's there. So what you're seeing now, we had a very, very special week early in June, and it was our Kid Win Week. This is one of our new partners, and so we were exploring alternate energy sources, and Pattern Energy was a partner with this. They funded the entire experience, and Kid Win actually went with a hybrid model because we asked them to. They had not done it like this. And so in the morning, they offered teacher professional development, which you see there's one of the Pattern interns on the right working with one of our teachers. I believe he's from Bastrop. And then there's other teachers doing their thing. Anyway, they worked on wind energy, and they worked on solar energy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very, very exciting. And so then in the afternoon, kids came to the camp, and the teachers worked with the kids along with the folks from Pattern, and it allowed them to apply their understanding of what they did in the morning. So here you see some of the kids at the camp, and they're learning about solar energy. It was just one of the most, I love this little man. He is so cute. He was just totally pumped. And I have never seen such enthusiasm. By the end of the week, these kids were dragging their parents in the afternoon. Oh, he was so excited. He got in there twice. So here you have our facilitator from Oklahoma who came down, and Kathy Jackson, amazing. She facilitated the whole thing, and she is a training specialist that came and spent the day. And so here she is with teachers and students in the afternoon. And this was just a phenomenal day. Here you see some of the young men. It was just a great group of kids and adults, and we were so excited with this. And we have, said we are going to continue this partnership with them because number one, this is a very important topic. Louisiana is making slow strides with the alternate energy sector because we are oil and gas people, but
Right.
we've got to start transitioning. And so
You gotta wonder, is there a concern that you're dipping into the profits, because we're so embedded in the oil and gas industry, but yet you got to think about the future too, and
That's right.
That's not a renewable resource. So what better way to position ourselves as energy producers in the state but doing things like investigating wind power and solar power and different things like that. And so that I think we need to embrace it, more so than be afraid of it.
And honestly, they were very candid in that they are really trying to get a footprint in Northeast Louisiana. We've got
Lots of land.
Lots of land. And, I know for, some people it's a scary thought to think, okay, we've used this to farm, whatever for how long. But, wind farms are a thing. I mean, they're putting wind platforms down in the Gulf, these different things. And so, but part of this, and this goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning, it's all about educating people, and so if we get our kids excited and educated, our teachers excited and educated, and have you noticed that this just keeps doubling when I do that? It's too hot. It just doesn't work. It doesn't want to work. It's too hot. I'm just going to say that. Either that or it's just operator error. But here we go. This young man is a pattern intern from Florida. He came up to do this with he was amazing. And so just having an opportunity to do these cool things and to start something new. And I mean, we really were on the cutting edge with this, so the leading edge with this, and our hybrid model was just something that they were thrilled with. And now we're already talking about new things. We want to move it into Ouachita Parish next summer.
Okay.
And so we will be, because we want it to go east so our partners don't have to come so far,
That's right.
Where tech is. And so we kind of did the pilot gig this summer. And so we've already, said we'll go to Ouachita Parish, and then we're going to move it from there. And so I think great things are going to come out of this. I think probably the best thing was just the kids dragging their parents in, being able to explain fully using data. Now, listen, using data, teachers had to just think, I can't get my kids to talk about data in the classroom. These kids, because they were using it and they were excited about it, explaining what was going on with data, I mean, it just blew my mind.
That sounds incredible. Now, with these, all these pictures are wonderful, and I'm noticing all the different types of, looks like sailboats that they're making.
Well, they're little vehicles, yeah.
And all the different designs that were tried, and again, if STEM does nothing else, it allows you to explore and just be creative and figure out things that maybe no one else has, and so there were a couple of designs I saw at a point that I thought, why would they do that? But then again, there's always a reason, and maybe it worked out for them at that time, that when they were trying it actually worked.
Yeah, I just love the fact that the teachers would do it in the morning, and then there they were working with kids in the afternoon. I just think that's a game changer when we're talking about, working with kids and teachers sitting in that seat like kids are going to do, and then seeing them do it themselves. I can't say enough about it. It was just loads of fun.
Yeah. Well, so I really have enjoyed everything that I've seen thus far. And can we remind people how to get connected with the SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center? Because I'm assuming that somewhere down the road, somebody's watching this podcast and they're saying, man, I wish I would have known about this event. I wish I could have come. I would have driven 45, 50 minutes to get there. What can I do? How do I keep in contact so that I know what's coming up?
So let me tell you something funny that happened. So when we were having the mini summit, you were at the mini summit, one of the celebrated people at the mini summit. We gave Ryan a prize because he's awesome. So we're at the mini summit. So the Aramark team, they catered the mini summit. Fabulous food. We all ate way too much. It was wonderful. So while I was back there doing something, one of the people that works for Aramark said, I need to connect you with my mom. I'm like, okay. Said, this is exactly the kind of thing that her company would want to support. So this young lady that worked for Aramark was in the back listening to us talk about the different things that our partners are doing and all this. And I'm like, okay, that afternoon she had sent an email. Mom, I'm going to connect you with Kathy. Kathy, this is my mom. Y'all need to talk about what's going on. I don't know. 6 emails later, the company she works for, Roseburg Forest Products, had said, this is exactly the thing that we like to support. We're going to send you a check.
Amazing.
And it was like,
on the spot.
Yeah. And of course, well, you know, there are hoops to jump through and all, and we are happy to jump. But the point being, when people hear the story, and really she was just standing back there doing her job, listening to us kind of give an overview of what had happened in SCILS over the year and thinking, wow, this would be a great place. And so that makes the story, as we've said all through this episode, that makes the story so important. And so that's why the podcast must exist. That's why the social media platforms must exist. That's why I need to go to Baton Rouge and have conversations with people, because I believe that there are folks out there that want to engage, they want to connect, they just don't know how. Right. And so that was a wonderful surprise, and it was a fantastic, gift for us to use on the types of things that you're seeing here.
Wow, amazing. So to have company sponsorship right there, just based off of someone overhearing the good work, that's pretty incredible.
And you know what they chose, because they said, if you'll send us some options, so that, like, oh, wow, I'm just not used to this.
Oh, like sponsorship levels?
Well, or just some different things. They said when they present it, because, it's a big company, and so they have to go, say. So when it all came down to it, they said, we want to support the girls in STEM, which I just love that. And so I've thrown up a picture here of the girls in STEM camps that we led with at the beginning of the summer. So here you have a team that broke out of the breakout box. That's what you do. You break out of the breakout box. That's it. But this is kind of like our CS for You Junior. We talked a lot about CS for You this last year, and so doing it with littles. Look at these. These are kiddos in grades 1 through 3.
Wow.
And so, starting them young. You can do this. This is part of it. So here's Missy. She's innovative ways. If you think that's an old twister mat, you're exactly right. But we're teaching them coding. On a twister mat. Absolutely.
This is what I thought I saw it all.
And so look at what the kids have now. They have their own miniature version of a twister mat, and the little cards that if you look, you can see they have arrows and things. And so we're teaching them, the basics of coding without, so there you go, learning to code. And so when Roseburg said, we want to support girls in STEM, one of your girls in STEM activities, these are the kind of things. So look, they go from twister mats, now they're to a device, doing something very similar. But these are the littles. This is our little juniors.
Wow.
And so anyway, you never know what's going to strike someone's passion, and they say, hey. And so it made perfect sense for me that this lady working for a STEM company, obviously Roseburg Forest Products, that's part of it, that would be interested in that. Now, see, there they are doing a little engineering design that goes along, because we use literature when we do this. But anyway, just total excitement.
It's interesting that you said something very key, though. It's almost like you recognize not every activity is going to excite everyone in the room. Some like physical implements, some like screens, some like gamification.
Right.
And so you're trying to, in these sessions, allow the opportunity to strike a chord on every level possible. And where one may check out or may not be as engaged in one activity, they may come to life in another. So there's a pedagogy here that we're talking about as well.
That's exactly
when we look
right.
At this, at these shots of these young, very young minds being engaged in STEM activities.
But Ryan, even when I was teaching high school, my kids they found, so now here they start programming a little robot to do it. But even my kids in high school, I repeatedly told them, okay, today may not be your cup of tea, but tomorrow may be exactly what you wanted to do. And
That's such a great thing to say.
They held on to that. And we have to appreciate, different learning styles and different interests, and, give them the opportunity to excel. But I tell you, planting seeds in these young minds, and look, I was a secondary teacher. I little people, kind of Talk about on edge. But here's where the seeds need to be planted, you know, and for them to realize, yes, I can do this. I'm capable of this. I'm worthy of this opportunity, you know, because I think that's when they start finding that passion, you know.
And, you know, kudos to the parents, you know, for lending their support. I mean, these kids wouldn't be present if you didn't have dedicated parents providing transportation, maybe for one or for multiple kids that are coming to these. So we definitely have to give a congratulations or a thank you to them as well, because without the parents, these kids wouldn't even be present.
That's it. And we start at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that means they're up, they have to dress their kids, they have to get them fed, get them up there in place. And yeah, you're right about that, because there can be all kinds of opportunities out there, but if people don't get kids to them or get the young adults to them or whatever, you know, then it's just spinning.
And we know it's not easy because, you know, as an adult, you have 1,000 other things that you're thinking about. You know, you got to get to work. You know, you got to do all the things that you just got to do just to survive. You know, we were talking about the price of groceries the other day and, you know, just taking time to do certain things. And yet, you know, still managing. I mean, of course, you know, obviously you assume you're dedicated to your kid, but, you know, that's one extra thing. You know, and yet these parents are bringing their kids out there trying to make sure that they show them a way, another path, make them think about their future in a different way.
Well, and I'm going to say this too. I think it would be very easy for parents, you know, because it's summer and we're not having to do the wrestle about we're going to school and all that, to just say,
press the easy button.
Yeah, just stay in your pajamas and go in there and watch TV. But instead, they're taking advantage of an opportunity. And you're right. That is, you know, okay, this afternoon you can be whatever, but we're going to do something productive with our time this morning. And, you know, we just see the benefits right and left. We do. And I've always said, if we can accomplish one thing, then we've done well. And as you look at these pictures, I think everyone will agree we've done a little bit more than one thing in making it happen. So
that's right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Incredible stuff. I don't even know if I have any follow-up really to say about anything other than, once again, just looks like a fun time, you know, was had by all. And certainly, I don't want to overstate it, but the phrase that comes to mind is life-changing, altering. You know, it's kind of like that analogy when you hit a golf ball. You know, everybody has the golf ball in the same spot usually. You know, they tee up in the same spot or more or less the same spot. But the angle at which you hit that golf ball, even by millimeters, can affect the trajectory and where that thing lands at the end. And so if we take that analogy and we look at it with these young students, these young kids, you know, maybe they didn't know anything about STEM before. Maybe they didn't know they were doing something scientific or mathematic or technology related or engineering related, any of those things. And yet they're doing it now, and they're going to go back and they're going to think about that later on down the road and think, you know what, they might be in, you know, junior high or high school, even college, you know, and say, I remember when. Can I do that? And then they'll inquire, and who knows?
And I'm going to tell you, it's interesting that you said that, because I actually kind of gave a little mini testimonial about something along those lines on Monday. We had a group of students from East and West Carroll, now the farthest reach of our region. They're involved in a class over the summer. We'll probably talk more about this next time. But anyway, their teacher said, I want to bring them to Tech for a field trip during this. So we set up a thing, and we, you know, let them tour the Integrated Engineering and Science building and go see the Virtual Anatomy lab and see some other high school students that were doing research on campus that summer, saying these are things you can do. So anyway, we closed the day with Bill Deese doing some demonstrations. We've seen Bill on the podcast before.
Did he blow something up?
Oh, of course he did. Of course he did. Rock the windows. But as I was introducing him, I said, I need y'all to understand that in 1989, I was in this exact same room that you're in now. And I spent 8 weeks in a class with Bill. And I didn't want to be there. I actually had a professor that really begged me before forcing me to take the class. I didn't want to spend 8 weeks in the chemistry lab in the summer. But I said that teacher saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so I finally relented, because I'm a pleaser. I wanted to say, okay, I'll make you happy, I'll do it, but I don't want to. And it changed my life. And I said, there is no way, and I mean there is no way I am standing here before you today had it not been for that 8 weeks with Bill that summer. And so I want you to know that you never know what opportunity is going to be the one that's going to flip a switch on for you, that's going to open a door to something fabulous and unexpected. And so every time we put something together or we offer an opportunity, we're hoping that there is that flip the switch moment for somebody, or a door opens for somebody, or a seed's planted for somebody that's going to have that life altering potential to it. And having lived through that experience, I mean, there's nothing better. There's nothing better.
Yeah. That's a great story, a testimonial. It's something that needs to be repeated. And I'm glad that you were able to say that, because sometimes the young minds, they look at adults and they think, okay, you got it all together, life's been easy, they don't, or you knew what you wanted to do at the very beginning. And a lot of us, ended up stumbling into something. I remember, for myself, not knowing anything about computers, and at 10 years old, just being fortunate enough to, we got one in the house, and a personal computer. I'm sure my parents, I don't know what they thought they were, or what they were hoping for to get out of it. And I'm sure it cost a ton, for something that nowadays would probably be worth a penny now. And just me getting on there, I just took to it. I was like, well, what does this do? Let me see if I can, run this program, or can I make my own, and so on. And they didn't expect that, but just having access, to it was great, and then all of a sudden now, so many years later, one of my careers was in IT, back way back. And, being able to then take that and leverage that knowledge and build on to something else, because it doesn't mean that you have to stay in that one career forever. You take what you learn and then you apply it to some other industry. I'm in higher ed now, and, work in the business area, business and technology division. And the things that I've learned and that I carry with me, again, with media and all sorts of things, extend to what I do now as a division chair. So you just never know, and so I guess I'm saying all that to say, the testimonial that you said was great. Our experiences and the totality of those experiences shape who we are. And again, lives, we are we're constantly growing and changing and evolving. And this is great that, again, the STEM Region 8 LaSTEM Center is here, SCILS is here, and it's being impactful, and certainly, I believe, changing the minds and shaping futures of generations to come in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I mean, in our great state.
Well, and we hope that they'll stay here. I mean, that's part of it, to get them equipped for these jobs, but then to understand themselves and where they are in a way that says, I want to continue to invest here. I think that's one of the really key things about this, because I think kids find out who they really are. You said you kind of went the way you did because you were lucky enough to have a computer in the house. You took to it. Well, that was long before, when I came through, long before computers. But I'm telling you, when it came time to declare a major, I really just had to find something that would fit who I was. I wasn't really driven. I wanted to be a backup singer for Elvis, and he had died. And so, I'm looking and going, I know myself well enough to know I can't do this. I can't sit in an office, these kind of things. So knowing who you are and then finding how to apply who you are into something that brings you joy and that you have passion within and all. And so we just really, really hope that the people, whether they are K or gray, anywhere in between, that they'll find something that matches who they are, and, and that they will become inspired to really, not just benefit from it, but to continue contributing so that we can continue evolving.
Absolutely. Is that everything? Is there something else that you wanted to share with us? Is there something on the horizon that we need to, plug or anything before we cut the episode?
When you said that, because I'm traveling up to the Union Parish Library tomorrow. We'll talk about this more later, but I am grateful for the people that give us the call. Like the teacher that's dealing with the kids with West Carroll and East Carroll, call, can we come? Union Parish, will you come? Franklin Parish, we're going down to do a STEM day. Will you come? The answer is yes, but we can't know what the need is unless somebody lets us know. So I want to say thank you to these people who have made the call, who've reached out and said, we want to be a part, and allowed us to customize an experience for them. I mean, it's a great joy, but it's also just a real blessing for people to say, we're entrusting our kids or our young adults or whoever to you. And so we believe in what you're doing, and so come on down. And so I just want to encourage people to just give us a call. Just reach out. Reach out.
That's right. I don't think we could have ended the final episode of season 1.
Wow.
Any better than with that call to action?
Is it a cliffhanger? Isn't that what they do in TV? We can't do that here, though. A cliffhanger. Will we be back or will we not?
Right. Will it be AI? Well, what's going to happen? We don't know.
Is it going to be 200 degrees or not?
Yeah. If it's 200, then we're not.
No. No.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next season. So join us for season 2. And our first episode, again, to come out either August or September time. I think after we finish wrapping this episode, we're going to figure out the calendar to come. But thank you guys that have been supporting us. SCILS, Region 8 LaSTEM Center. Thank you all the participants, all the parents, all of the businesses, everybody. Thank you so much. We're going to continue to ride this momentum forward, and we look forward to seeing you in the next season. And let's get to work.
That's it. Happy summer.